Show and tell night. This is show and tell night. This is what we normally do in November, in which all you guys get the chance to give a little short presentation of what you've done during the year. We don't have a major speaker doing an hour-long presentation. It's just shorty. And I'm going to actually do one. Wow. I am going to do a brief history of Chicago Scuba Meetup.
Oh my God.
Can I get you to come over here, though?
Oh, come over here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is it you?
This is the oldest known photograph of a group photo of Chicago Scuba Meetup.
What year was this?
And this was taken in February of 2006.
Oh, wow.
So, you might think that this means that next year would be our 20th anniversary. And I would not argue with that, because in some ways it really is. But actually, the Chicago Scuba Meetup was actually founded by a college student who I believe went to DePaul, who set it up when Meetup was a lot less expensive than it is now. Right now we're paying like $350 a year to be on meetup.com. We're sharing it with UAC, but still, it's a lot of money. And back then, if you just wanted to start a group because you wanted to get some people together, it was a lot. I'm sure a starving student would find that a little prohibitive. So, this, you notice there's not too many people in this picture that are still here.
It's Eric. Is that Eric Vaughn on the upper right?
No, that's Ephraim.
Okay.
Ephraim. I don't know if you remember him or not.
And that's Jack.
And Jack Donovan.
You recognize Jack.
Yeah, you recognize Jack. The person who started that group, I never met the person. I did go. They set up meetings to. They set up meetings to meet at a bistro in Lincoln Park called Bourgeois Pig, and I don't think more than 2, 3, or 4 people showed up at any meeting, and the person who was the organizer was not one of them when I was there. I went to like maybe 2 meetings. Anyway, they gave it up, and the person who took it over is the woman who's holding up the dive flag, Shannon Sankstone, and she actually made the group pretty much what it is today. She had regular meetings. She had events during the year. She eventually transitioned to bringing in presenters to give presentations to the group. We didn't do it all the time, but she started that policy, and she made it what it was. She did it for about a little more than a year, I guess a year and a half maybe. And then she handed it over to another person. I'm not going to mention his name because I'll sound maybe a little negative about him, but he actually made amends later because he gave some equipment to the group afterwards. But he took over the group and was running it, and then he had some kind of personal crisis, which turned into a crisis for us because he completely dropped the group, which means that Meetup.com did not have a credit card associated with Chicago Scuba Meetup. And that canceled all our events, that canceled all our ability to communicate with members. And what happened was we freaked out. And a person named Robbie Zwissler grabbed the name and paid to have it continue. And the reason he did that is that we had a sense that we wanted this to be a dive club that was independent of dive shops or anybody's business. We were afraid some entrepreneurial type would grab it and use it for their own purposes. So he was good enough to grab that, but he did it under the stipulation that he was only really temporary until we voted on for somebody to be full-time. So in June of 2008, after he'd been in for like a month or 2, we had a vote, and they picked me.
Volunteered, as I remember.
Well, it was a vote. We haven't had a vote since. We haven't had an election since. That happened.
You're doing such a damn good job.
I think it's, you know, I still have that sweatshirt. I still wear that sweatshirt.
So wait, the picture is from 2006?
Yes.
Okay, but after that, all right.
Yeah. So 2008 is when I got involved in being the organizer, and frankly, it's been an amazing group for me. I think most of the diving that I've done has been as a result of this group, and so it's been life-changing for me. And so I've always appreciated it. I would really like to recommend people who would want to be an assistant organizer to raise their hand and do that and get involved. I would hope that somebody would be thinking that, yeah, I can start organizing, be the organizer for this group as well. I hope people start thinking along that line. Because I don't plan on doing it another 18 years or whatever. What? What?
You're voted in for life.
You're volunteering? Okay, we'll have to go to
Wait, who
the...
said that? Oh.
Yeah, she's going to be next year. Okay. It's not that hard. I rely mostly on people giving me suggestions and for speakers and that kind of thing. So it's really not that bad. I just want to let you know
You
that.
still bringing projectors? Or
Well, the projectors is not mine. It's the clubs.
Oh, wow.
And
How about the screen?
the
all
screen
the
is the clubs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't belong to me.
Oh, wow.
That is what your $20 has gone for.
Yeah, right.
And that's
We've
right.
done several AV upgrades. And
So
stuff
here's
like that.
another picture. That's Rob Rossi. That's actually Eric Fong, who actually showed up at a meeting not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen him in years. The other people, I am not sure who they are. I think I got individual pictures of them where I got it. And then here's another. We were meeting at this time at Goose Island, which turned out not to be the greatest place for us. I remember one time we had a presentation from the Shed Aquarium to our group on Mardi Gras night. Yeah, which we were sitting in one area. They had a little partition, and on the other side was a Dixieland band, and they were playing like crazy. So it was interesting. But really, that's my presentation. So please think about trying to take over for me. We need another election. Okay, who's next?
Alex.
music.
My brain.
Okay, I'm
First
non-ocean
time presenter?
No,
No?
I'm sure it's
No, she's presenting.
no. Okay, so I wrote a grant to go to Africa.
Can you come over here? Because the mic's there.
I wrote a grant to go to Africa for teachers. It's a teacher grant. And my grant was about studying wild rhino conservation in Africa. So, this is a white rhino, and I was working at an orphanage for a week. They're very endangered. People are killing them for their horns. And all the rhinos at this sanctuary had been orphans, and now they're grown up, just living there. They had 6 rhinos that couldn't be released into the bigger area. So I just think it's funny because they just had this little electric fence there. There's like these 5,000-pound rhinos there. So they had 6 of them. We called them the camp rhinos. So twice a day you'd give them hay and some grain pellets. And it was cold. It was July.
It was winter.
It was winter there. It was cold. And then twice a day we'd go out into the bigger reserve, and I took this from a little truck. This land used to be a tobacco farm, so the grass that grew was like kind of not really great. And it's the winter, so in the winter they give them hay twice a day and grain twice a day. And they would run after the truck like kids running after an ice cream truck. And those are warthogs in the back. So the warthogs and wildebeests were always eating the rhinos' food. And this is the truck. We went out twice a day. So this is my friend I went with. She works at Curie High School. Her name's Fanny, and the other 2 people are from Canada. And I know I'm Facebook friends with some of you, but they would not let us put any of these on Facebook because of this distinctive mountain. because they don't want anyone to know where these rhinos are. Because
Oh,
Right,
Yeah.
makes sense.
so yeah, so I couldn't put these on Facebook, and that's me. So these buckets were the grain. Oh, and the bag that you saw in the other photo, we put all the hay in the bag. It'd be like 2 bales of hay that fit in those bags, and then we had all these buckets full of the grain pellets. So you would just ride up to the group of rhinos and throw down some hay, throw down some grain.
Rhinos like puppies, they.
Kind of, they were nice. And then they're just standing there eating their hay and grain. And you just kind of drive around and feed different groups of rhinos. And they knew their names because the girls that worked there, they'd feed them in certain spots, and then they'd call their names and they'd come running over. So
How many rhinos were there?
they wouldn't tell us. It was really hard to count them because, they kept moving around when we were feeding them. Maybe 20, 25, I don't know. They wouldn't tell us the number. We had to turn our location off our phone. It was like a big secret where we were.
That's good though.
Yeah. So this is a baby that they found when she was. What? No. This is a baby they found when it was a week old. Her name's Binti. Now she's a year and a half old. So they found her alone. They never found the mother. They assumed the mother was killed, but they never found the body. So rangers, if they find an orphan rhino or a injured rhino, they call this place and they'll go drive out and get it. So this big baby, was getting 2 bottles of milk a day, like 5 times a day. And it was the 2-liter Coke bottles that they used. And here's another. So you can see the bottle.
That's great. Have you worn it in Chicago?
Yes, she has.
I have worn it twice because I did bowling for rhinos. So I did bowling for rhinos at Lincoln Park Zoo and one at Brookfield Zoo. So I did this for 1 week, and then the next week I went to another sanctuary where they had all kinds of animals just kind of running around free. They had elephants and giraffes and everything. But this was like an amazing thing that happened that wasn't even planned. It was our last day there, and they got a call. The guy that was with us didn't even know this was happening. They had found these 2 rhinos. They wanted to saw their horns off. So we got to help with it, and I'm over here with the hat, and there's Fanny. So they had the vet, and this lady this is one of the vets. It was like, I'll take your daughter to work day, I guess. I don't know. So she's, in Africa, it's like, oh, so you're taking your daughter and you're this dangerous animal. Well, that's okay.
how often how many do they saw the horns off?
How often do they do it?
I mean, how do they routinely saw their horns
Like it
off?
takes like 2 years for it to grow back.
Yeah, but do they routinely do that?
Yeah.
That's what they do all of them.
Like most places are sawing their horns off to save them. So it was kind of unexpected. It really made the whole trip worth it. The vet was in the helicopter. They darted this rhino and her son, and they just went under the anesthesia. And we were supposed to be kind of propping it up so she wouldn't roll over. I wasn't really doing much. And then you can see in the nose, they put like a little oxygen thing, and then they took a chainsaw, sawed off the horn. It only took like 10 minutes, and then we ran back to the Jeeps, and they gave him the reversal drug. So
What did they do with the horn once they saw it off?
it goes to a government secured site,
Oh.
but then somehow a lot of the horns mysteriously disappear because there's so much corruption in Africa, yeah?
Are you removing the horns so that the poachers don't find it desirable?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't need them to survive in the wild?
Apparently not, because they're doing this a lot in South Africa. When they first, I don't think they would do it if a mom has a little baby, because really the lions and hyenas can tell. And then there's another shot. This is the grown-up son, so that's just another shot of another rhino.
Now, at the first sanctuary, were any breeding at all, or?
Yeah, they're letting them. Yeah, there is some big babies there.
Oh,
So yeah,
You mean without the horn, they're not confused?
Well, they're so this was another sanctuary. That's why they were dehorning them. And then
Well, the horn is basically hair, isn't it?
it's made out of keratin, which is the same thing as your fingernails. And then I took a picture. I wasn't supposed to, but I actually snuck this photo.
That's cool.
That's
I didn't
the
know
horn.
inside.
So it is more expensive now than gold or platinum or even elephant ivory. And they let us all touch it. They said this is the most expensive thing you'll ever touch.
Well,
'Cause
gold is now more expensive than platinum. I haven't heard of it in
I think they were saying this is $50,000 a kilo.
Wow.
I don't
Weren't you
remember.
supposed to blur her face then?
You'll never meet her. So then after
So who pays that money? Is it Chinese or what?
China and Vietnam,
For what, like soups and concoctions?
they think it.
Medicinal.
Medicinal, let's say I meant medicinal, I meant like concoction.
Chew your fingernails. Would be
So after the rhino stuff, I went to Cape Town, which is an awesome, awesome city. And so I saw many different animals on my trip. These are fur seals, which came out and they had like a little place for them to lay. And they're more related to sea lions because you see they have external ear flaps. And true seals don't have ear flaps. So fur seals, yeah, so these are like more like sea lions, but they're really chunky. So I saw the fur seals in Cape Town. You can also go to a beach and see African penguins. So they have African penguins. It's like a couple hours from Cape Town. And then I wanted to do the shark dive. But Abhishek, when you did it, were you in a scuba tank? Okay, so they had said I could use scuba, but then they didn't have it that morning. And so they tell you gotta hang on top to the bars and then take a breath and then push yourself down. And that's what you gotta do. And they have another bar here. You can hold on to that underwater. And they have a bar at the bottom to kind of hook your feet because, you kind of push yourself down and then your feet just kind of automatically like go in front of you. So there's
Wait, you're
another
in
bar.
scuba here?
No, you're just holding your breath.
In a wetsuit
The wetsuit, yeah.
though. You're a wetsuit.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to see. They used to be able to see great white sharks, but people are saying the orcas are scaring them away, but the people on this boat believe it's more that there's not enough fish for the great white sharks because fish is like half of their diet, and they're just overfishing, and the great whites are moving out. So it was the shark we saw was a bronze whaler shark or a copper shark. Same thing. I'd never heard of that. So they gave us five mils.
Must have been chilly.
It was really cold, and it was winter. It was very cold, and it's really hard to hold your breath, and it's cold, and it's just. So this is another family. There's like 3 of them, and then when we went, there's 4 of them. I never got the dimensions of the cage, but it's like 4 people wide.
You can't hold your breath.
You just gotta hold your breath.
Yeah, you got no choice.
Kind of. And the cage didn't go anywhere. It was just stuck next to the boat. It's not like the movies where you're going down. You're just stuck next to the boat.
Oh my god.
But you have to hold your breath so you can go see
Okay,
it.
but I thought they were shoving you down in a cage. And you had to
How do I
hold your
play
breath.
this? Just-
I don't know, what kind of horrible.
There you go.
I feel better.
All right, here we go.
So that's
Okay, I
my
get to
friend. She was so scared to do this, and they made her go first.
They're like, just hold your breath. You'll be fine. Go watch Jaws. They can all chew through.
Now, did you have to get up at 3 in the morning to drive over there? Or-
Yeah, well, I wanted to do the first boat, so I think we got there before sunset. Yeah. Okay, this one is the sharks using Beth's GoPro, and the song is called Ocean by Calvin Harris. That's not it. Okay, Eric, how do I get the next one?
or maybe. Well, like that.
Is that the next one?
I think so.
That's not.
Yeah, this
It
is.
So who's recording? Who's recording out?
This, I borrowed Bud's GoPro. And since I was going up and down in the cage, that's why it's very jerky.
Now, do they do any feeding or anything?
Oh yeah, they're throwing chum into the water.
Chumming.
So you'll see there's more chum at the end of the water.
Yeah, but I'm ready.
Oh, sea lion.
Yeah.
So that's not what the sharks eat? They don't eat sea
They
lion?
yes,
don't
they
eat
do.
the sea lion.
I thought they
And
ate sea
maybe
lion.
not, maybe not these. I don't know if these
I
are.
thought they ate sea lion.
The great whites do. Great
Yeah, oh,
whites
these are not
definitely.
great ones. Right.
These fur seals are really big. They look huge.
That's cat.
So the seals eat the chum too. They just
Yeah, they were eating the chum.
They're just gonna catch the shark.
How large would you say that?
I know the sharks were as long as the cage.
Okay.
But I don't know how long the cage was.
What kind of sharks are they?
Copper, or they're also called bronze whaler.
Big sharks.
Are they fish eaters? These kind of sharks are fish eaters, I assume?
I guess so.
Because they're not, the seals don't seem to be upset.
No.
Right, these are the great whites.
Oh, yeah, they would stay away from that.
They're pretty quite close to that, cage. How comfortable were you with the fact that they won't come into the cage? I mean, they can't reach
So
it.
they weren't attacked?
The sharks?
Yeah, I mean,
They can't get in there.
But they can still.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can just down in there.
And maybe that they're
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
going through.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Well, that's not the
Find a way.
yeah, I don't know.
When we were there were great whites.
Well, they're gone now.
And they threw out these big tuna heads of ropes. And then
I don't think they've seen them in 5 or 6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a
We
while.
were there about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's still very for sure.
Copper whaler?
Copper or bronze whaler.
Bronze whale.
Okay.
Whaler.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, Eric, who's next?
I don't know. Who would like to go next?
You got something?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Right, then I just hit next.
Just yeah.
Is that an apple?
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so, yeah, it's a little bit over, but, all right, so,
I can change for you if you want.
oh, no, I can.
Okay.
All right, so basically this is, I did a cenote one last time, but this time I have, so I know Dean is gonna kill me, but I'm still a newer diver. All right. Dean keeps telling me not to say that, but I'm under 100 dives, so I still consider myself a new diver, right? I'm under like 70 dives still. But I kind of went like 0 to 100, where I was like, get my open water. The Great Lakes won't let you without advance, so I got my advance, and then I got my dry suit, and then I got a rescue, so I went kind of
I
full.
think you can go pro with 50.
I mean, but I don't know if you should. But and my dad is Mexican, so and my husband's Puerto Rican, so we like to visit Mexico. And so when I learned that in Mexico you could dive the caves or the cenotes, I was all about it. So I have now done 4 caves in Mexico and 1 in the Dominican Republic. And they're really not caves, they're caverns, right? So the difference between caves and caverns is what? Caves have, right, caverns are supposed to have some kind of artificial light, but let me tell you, when you go to Mexico, there's some caverns that are really not caverns, because if you shut your lights off, I mean, you're in a cave. So, but that to me is the coolest part. So this, just really quick, I use AI for the presentation. So like the basis of the presentation is AI. This was 2 years ago. The middle guy is the really hot French instructor from the experience, which really helps when you have like a really hot instructor. And he's speaking like this the whole time, and I'm like, I am listening to whatever you're telling me. Like, I am on the safety briefing paying attention. And that was a really cool guy who was an ex-Marine who was really a really great dive buddy. So basically, when we went to Mexico, we go all the time. So where are you going? You're going to Cancun, and then we drive down to Riviera Maya, and we stay in those resorts. And then when I discovered that there's caverns and cenotes everywhere, I was like, I want to go in all the dark holes and all the dark places. So this agenda item, this is AI created it, so I kind of went with it. So we're going to talk about the sinkholes, some popular destinations, and I just filled the PowerPoint with my own videos and pictures after that. So I'll tell you what's mine and what's not. Clearly, my husband went with me. He does not dive. He does not swim. I had to save him on our honeymoon. He almost drowned and died. Yeah, I know. But by then, I had already married him. I was like, God damn it, I was like, this guy can't even swim, and I'm married to him. So I've learned my lesson. But
Sorry, we are posting this on YouTube.
yeah, yeah, because my husband watches all the things I do. Yeah, he would never watch the YouTube video, so don't worry. All right, so what's actually really cool is I hate AI as an attorney, but I told AI, make me a PowerPoint that talks about cenotes and diving in Mexico and Yucatan, and it did it. So a lot of this like comes from AI. So great. All right, like this. I didn't write this. AI wrote it. I don't know, limestone bedrock collapse. This is how it happens over hundreds and thousands of years and millions of years, and it collapses and blah, blah, blah.
Well, and it surrounds the big ancient crater.
Oh, I didn't know that. What?
The one that killed all the dinosaurs?
Okay. I did not know that.
It goes around the rim. Right?
Like, are you serious?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure why, but yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Well,
So, all right. So I didn't know that. I mean, AI created all this, but we are in Yucatan. So to be clear, if you're in Cancun and you land there, all up and down is Yucatan, and we have visited the ruins in Tulum and stuff. But when I go now, every time I tell my husband, I was like, where am I diving? Where am I ignoring my family for 8 hours for one day? All right, so types of cenotes. Again, this came from AI. Apparently, there's open cenotes, semi-open and closed. And I didn't know that the closed cenotes are like the ones that you go down that are like super closed. Those are the youngest cenotes. I didn't know that.
They haven't collapsed yet, yeah.
I didn't. So again, I'm learning as AI teaches me. These are like I thought in my head they might have been the oldest ones because they're underwater, but they're not. They're the newest ones because, like Scott said, they haven't like collapsed in themselves yet. So if you guys have been to cenotes, you can jump in the water and swim around. But me, I'm like, I want to go in the dark holes. So
Find any skeletons?
not me, but I have a video of my friend who did. So there are cenotes that some of the dive masters keep very secret. For the same reason, right, that Alice said, if you do a dive with cenote experience, now I know, you can request like secret dives where they make you turn off your phone, turn off the location because they don't want people fucking it up for everyone else, and because they have a ton of like human skulls and remains in them, and they don't want people like taking them. I have not done one of those dives, but the next time I go to Mexico, I am requesting like a secret skull dive. And there's a video of that my friend Cindy just did. So apparently there's different types of cenotes. I think I've done pretty much all of them. I didn't know the AI created this. All right, so this is my picture. So when we were there with my husband, this is not a dive. This is just some Mayan ruins that most people overlook. But of course, I love doing, like, seeing all this. So when we visited, this is my picture. I made sure to go. Obviously, we know that the ancient Mayans, like, really thought this was sacred land. And there's some really cool movies out there about, like, how spiritual and, like, it gives you, like, longevity and you live forever and all of that. So my dad is Mexican. He's from Michoacan. And my great-grandmother spoke Spanish and Purepecha, which is another language. So I have that in my roots somewhere. They're the only tribe that was not conquered by the Aztecs. And supposedly, because my daughter's learning about this now in school, and supposedly if the frickin' Spanish conquistadors had not arrived and convinced some of the native tribes to go against the Aztecs, like my dad's tribe might have, like, beat the Aztecs. But anyway, long story short, clearly we all can see why the cenotes would be, like, a really cool and spiritual place for our native ancestors. And I think that's really cool because, like, it's in my blood somewhere. All right, so this is my actual picture. So this is not where you dive. These are just the ruins. They're very close to the ocean and very close to Cozumel. As we all know, in Cozumel, there is the whole Ixchel, the Mayan goddess of moon and fertility. If you've been to Cozumel and dove there, someone has told you that story. I did not dive in Cozumel. We're talking about cenotes. All right, so popular places. Dos Ojos, there are pictures. I did do Dos Ojos. That was really cool. It's one of those popular places to dive. I did not do Gran Cenote or Angelita. That is not my picture. But we'll talk about some more places. All right, so this is the secret place that my friend Cindy dove. She is a dive master over in Cozumel, and she did this dive. And oh wait, how do I click on it? Oh wait, I got it. Wait, nope. Where's the little? Is it touchscreen?
Nope.
Got it.
You got it? There you go.
Yep.
Okay, so this is not my video. This is my friend Cindy. She's out of Cozumel. She posted this on Facebook, and it is secret, hidden, like you have to turn off your location. They don't want people messing this up for other people because there are hundreds of skulls here. So the next time I go diving, I'm going to call my friend Martin at Cenote Experience and ask to go there. So, but I did not visit here, but that to me is, like, super cool. All right. And they obviously don't want to. Oh, I guess if you just hit the next button, it plays. All right. This is my picture. So this is Cenote dos Ojos. It tells you exactly where you're going, like inside. You can pay all the attention you want to the pre-dive plan, but you really, when you get underwater, I'm like, none of this looks like the map. I'm just going to follow the dive master everywhere he goes. Because I listen really careful to these pre-dive plans, but once you get in the water, like, nothing looks like that. You're just following the dive master. But it's a really, really popular place. You're in the middle of the jungle, the mosquitoes are attacking you. But I did Dos Ojos. Again,
That's your picture?
no, that is not my picture.
No.
This is El Pit. So when I first dove my first cenotes in Mexico, I did Dos Ojos at El Pit. El Pit is very deep. I went down 132 feet, I think.
Yeah.
But because I was a newer diver, I thought maybe I shouldn't take my camera. So anything in El Pit and Dos Ojos are not my pictures because as a newer diver, I thought maybe I should probably focus on buoyancy and diving. So, but then when I went back this year, I brought my GoPro and I did my best. So this is El Pit, but obviously it's fresh water year round. You can go. The water temperature doesn't change. It's like in the 70s, so it's cool. But I wore a 3 mil and I was fine.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the people brought dry suits in 5 and 7 mils, but honestly, if you're from Chicago and you can handle the cold for 45 minutes, you're fine in the 3 mil. You're in the 70s, but you're gonna be fine.
It's 70s.
Yeah, it's not hot. It's not warm, but it's
Not
so hot when you exit. It's like 95 degrees.
70 and
70.
above is defined as warm water dive.
Oh, it's warm. 75. All right, so you can go at any time. Nothing changes in the cenotes, right? And it is fresh water, mostly. That is me. So this is the one I did last year. It's called Zapote. And I'm standing there at about an 8 to 10 meter thing, like cliff. And I found out after that everyone jumps, not everyone. I learned not everyone. Some people like to jump in after. And I was like, oh, this is fine. I can do it. You're going to see. That was the scariest part of my entire trip, jumping into a 10 meter thing. Cenote Zapote has these things called Hell's Bells. You're going to see under these giant, like, underwater formations. But obviously that's me. And this is where it is. So if you land in Cancun, You're like an hour from where the cenotes are. You're not far at all. Tulum is all the way down here somewhere. Wait, Tulum is right there. Those are all the ruins are, but in here is where all the cenote
Did
diving
you
is.
rent a car, or how did you get there?
Okay, I did rent a car, but Cenote Experience will pick you up from your hotel. I think I paid like $180 for an all day, 2 dive, 2 tank. They feed you and they pick you up from the hotel.
Oh, wow.
Well, can't beat that.
No, and they're amazing. Like they come recommended super highly. So if
Okay.
you ever want to do it, Cenote Experience, and this is the Eco Park. I think this will play. Okay, you can kind of hear it. After the dive, this is the scariest shit that I did. This is about 10 meters, about 30, 35 feet. And if you can hear the audio, I'm just saying fuck over and over again.
That you?
Oh fuck, that's me. Yeah, that was the scariest thing I did by far. And the Italian guy who was recording it was like, I am not going to do this. This is very scary. And then the dumb American girl did it. He did it right after me because he didn't want to be shown up by a dumb American. So he jumped in right after. But that honestly was the scariest part.
Play it again.
Okay, it was so, guys, I cannot emphasize how scary it was. Like, I was
You slow
terrified.
it down so you can hear them.
Well, how do you turn up the volume?
It's already at.
All right, you just gotta be quiet. Shh.
I didn't bring any.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, go ahead. And I'm like, oh fuck, this is really high. Turn off your brain. I'm telling myself to turn off my brain. And I said, oh fuck. But to be clear, you actually before I took the dive, I asked the local guy there, how deep is the water? Am I gonna die? What do I do? And he's like, hold your nose, and you have to, like, there actually are rules. Like, to be honest, you have to point your toe. Well, actually, he said not point your toes. He said a little bit flex, but not pointed. I asked that question. So, actually, this was really scary. Just so you
Did
know.
you do it again?
I would totally do it again.
Yeah, I figured that.
It was so fun. All right, so what to expect? I don't know. Okay, and then, so you did need advance. So to be clear, they will not take you if you don't have your advanced open water. Which doesn't mean much, but they will not take you if you don't have your advance because you're going below 60 feet. Okay, some of these cenotes are 80, 90 feet deep. So you can't be messing around hitting the top. You have to be like, pretty buoyant, because you're in a cave. This next dive or this next jump was very easy. It was about 3 meters. So this one was very easy. That did not freak me out. Okay, so everyone, it's like the thing to do is to jump into the cenote after you dive. All right. So I did Zapote and King Ha. King Ha was underground, which was super cool. So if you look at the cenote, it's underground. So you actually have to take these crazy ladders underground, and there's like a buoy thing that takes your tanks down there. This was really cool because there were bats flying around and you're underground. I think this is one of the newer cenotes, right? Because they're closed, I guess?
Well, it's partly closed, yeah.
Partly closed. Great water clarity because there's nothing like mucking up the water, right?
What was the name of this one?
Kinha, Kinha. Do you see it at the bottom? Kinha. So Zapote and Kinha go together because they're really close together. So if you ever do a dive, they'll take you to those two places. So this was super cool. There were a lot of bats flying around, and actually you can see them in the video a little bit. So this is me just taking a video. So people can just hang out in here. You don't have to dive. You can just yeah. It's really cool. There's just people hanging out, and then they're looking at us like we're psycho because they're hanging out at the surface. They're like, where are you going? We're like, in there. All right, but it was so cool. All right, this is all AI. Guys, this is AI.
All right,
So-
we know that.
But this is the Cenote Experience is these giant sloths that used to be down there, and you could apparently see the bones. This is a quick video. I'll just play part of it. This is underwater, and these are my actual videos. These are the Hell's Bells. It's very dark. I'm an amateur GoPro. I just let it play. So whatever it captures, so I don't die underwater. Obviously, that's not me because I'm recording. That's how you get your tanks up and down. Yeah, it's really cool. There's the Italian guy. That's our instructor with the side hop. Those are the random people we met on the dive. It's just very dark. 89 feet, you can see. Temperature about 75 degrees, 89 feet. You can see the bats. Yeah, you see the bats flying around. It's kind of gross, actually. It's very dark underwater. I'm gonna go on because I have a lot more to show, but it's super dark. I mean, if at some point the instructor says to close your lights, like put your hand over your lights, and it's pitch black. So again, they say they're caverns, but I mean, they're kind of caves. All right, I'm almost done here. More pictures, more videos of me underwater. This is a nice, like, slow one. This is me recording carefully and calmly so I don't die. Those are the Hell's Bells, kind of like bell formations that are really cool. And you just need to be careful because you don't want to touch anything. You don't want to mess up the growth underwater that took hundreds and thousands of years to grow. So you have to be really careful.
Well,
with
it's not
your
growing now, it's only growing when the water's down.
Yeah, that's true, because it needs I think the oxygen or whatever to grow, yeah. But it was really cool. And so, okay, this one I left. So last year we went to the Dominican Republic with my husband, and I was like, where can I dive there? And apparently there are cenotes. So this was, yeah, it's really cool. So this is where we entered. You would never know you go in there. Go in there and you go underwater. This one was really tricky. And the instructor, remember that Russian guy who was really mean and very aggressive? Yeah, he made me feel very uncomfortable. And I'm not a bad diver, but he really stressed me out. And it was really tricky, and you couldn't kick up the silt. And this was a difficult dive. This is one of the trickiest dives because he was watching me the whole time, and there were very, very narrow openings, and it was pitch black. So I don't know if maybe I was just diving beyond my abilities, but I did fine and I came out alive. But this video is not mine because I did not take my camera into this place to be safe, but this is what I saw. Now, we did not lay line, the line was already laid, but this is exactly where you enter here. So had I recorded a video, this is what I would have recorded, and this was a really difficult dive, to be clear. It was very tricky, and there were very, very tight passes. So
Well, you have to be careful not to silt.
oh my God, I was so nervous. I didn't want to touch anything. I was barely breathing. It was fun. I had a great time, but this one was tricky. That's in the Dominican Republic. This is in the Dominican Republic as well, the same place. So as you can see, the difference between caverns and caves are, this is as far as I went. If you go back there, you apparently will die. Because without proper cave training, all the signs are you will die. And Dominican Republic is heavy on the Russian influence. So we have English, Spanish, and Russian everywhere, which is pretty cool. So that's me in the video. The picture, the guy is taking the video of me. And these are my favorite things. I've seen these. If you do caverns, you're going to see these signs everywhere. So that was pretty cool. So no, we did not go through there. This was Dos Ojos and El Pit. This is not my picture, but these are, what you got to see. This is my picture. El Pit is literally a giant pit. So this is probably the best dive that I did. It goes down to 300 feet. We obviously only went down to about 120, but this was literally a giant pit. It was the coolest thing ever. It's a huge pit. You just go in. Tons of free divers. You can see the free divers diving, which is my favorite part because you can see them holding their breath for 3-4 minutes at a time.
What? 34?
3 or 4. No. 3 or 4, not 34. 3 or 4 minutes at a time, and we're here breathing, just watching them, and they're going up and down, so it was really cool. So this is not my video again. I'll just show you a brief part of it because I did not take my camera to El Pit because I wanted to be safe and not.
Why wasn't there screw on your head?
You know what? I thought about that, but I didn't. Oh, the video's not going to play, but honestly, it's just really cool. Finally, AI did this whole conservation thing. This is my deepest dive, except for the Dominican Republic. He took me down to about 135 feet. So this was my deepest dive to that point, and then I've gone deeper, but I had a great time. They really encourage you to be careful with the environmental factors and things like that and not touching anything. That is me. So because I did go to Playa del Carmen, I did do some nice easy dives after my cavern dives, and I got to swim with sea turtles. So that is me in the same place. We just, it was really cool. And then that was me at the hotel. Obviously, they really want you to be careful about what you do, in the cenotes, and to be careful and safe. And I don't know, AI wrote this, but that's my favorite. So, yep.
David, thank you.
Fun to I told you that. Yeah, they're so fun. They're just dark.
I guess I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I just got back from Columbia on Sunday morning, so I haven't had a chance to do any of my pictures. So these are all just AI generated. Okay, so we went to Cartagena, Colombia, which is a interesting city. This is not really a dive trip. We did 2 days of diving and then seeing the city. So the diving, I was really not expecting much of anything from. I was kind of thinking it might be kind of like the diving I did for a day in Dominican Republic, which was not cenotes and not great. But it wasn't bad. There was some actually decent coral life. There was a wreck of a car. There was a whole like series of wrecks that they were doing, like an artificial reef and some sculptures and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool. The one thing that they were telling us on this dive to look out for, but we did not see, is guitar sharks. I would have been over the moon if I had seen one of those. Nice little scorpion fish there. So seriously, I have not had time to like really edit anything. But Christmas tree worm, a lot of lobsters in one particular place. A couple of big eels. Christmas tree worm again. I was also having real problems with my camera, so the first two, we did 4 dives, and the first 2 were a complete wash from. I think that's a goby, but yeah, the same thing. He's like 1.5 inches long. But the real thing that we did was we went to the city of Cartagena, and it's really interesting in that you can see in the background there is a city, kind of like. It looks. They call it Little Miami or something. It really looks like the Miami skyline, but it's a old treasure port from the Spanish. So it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. There's a walled city that you stay in. So we stayed in sort of the old town, and there's this wall that runs for a couple of miles. Got cannons and everything on it. Really cool. So this is the wall that's facing out to the ocean. And then on the interior is a colonial Spanish city from. Well, they got their independence in 1800, so it's got to be like 1600s, 1700s. Just really, really interesting architecture, very colorful. It's kind of got a European vibe, but with like Caribbean colors that a lot of things are painted in. So it's very cool. Really decorative windows and stuff like that. I just now noticed you can see my reflection in there.
There you are.
Just interesting architectural elements, and there is a fort there too. But interestingly, the fort guards the land entrance. So, if anybody who's been to El Morro in San Juan, Puerto Rico, okay, yeah, it's kind of like that, but instead of guarding the sea, it's guarding the land. This is at that fort. There's the Miami skyline. We did a pirate boat booze cruise one night. So, and then there's this very like artsy district called Gethsemane. That we went to. It's very beautiful. There's a lot of art around. There's the painting I thought I wanted to buy and wasn't there the next day when I went back. But then a lot of the streets in there are just sort of decorated. So this one is all just decorated with umbrellas.
And in Puerto Rico too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then this one's all flowers. And we were actually there during Independence Day. And one of the things is that there were a ton of like pageant queens, beauty queens. This woman is apparently the queen of the Bambuco, which is a dance, I found out. So they're just like dancing in the square, demonstrating their thing. And when we were in that Lake Artie area, we saw like 4 beauty queens walking around getting their photos taken by sometimes like a whole entourage, and sometimes it was just like somebody that was going to post it on Instagram. So, fun place to go. Really warm. So, go out and do things during the day, and in the evening. Diving was better than expected. But, if you're looking for a place to go with just, family, but you want to get in a little diving or something like that, it was a great place.
Yeah.
So,
Was it your first time there?
yeah. Yeah, first time in Columbia. So.
So I just threw together grabbed a handful of pictures of whale shark snorkeling off the Yucatan. Has anyone done that?
No, I
Not
wish.
yet. So this isn't recent. This is like 15 or 16 years ago, but I thought it might be something people hadn't done. We did it out of Isla Mujeres,
There you
Yeah.
which is a great place to go. You take a boat, it takes about an hour and a half or 2 hours up near Isla Contoy. People also do it out of Holbox. We've done it a few times there.
Here you go. You can,
Oh, sure.
you can do the right arrow.
I don't know what order these are going to show up in either. This
What
is
time of year were you there?
in the summer, right? Summer's the best time. So this is
August thing or something, right?
yeah, like May through September or something. No, this is good. It won't be that long. This is just the kind of boat you go out on, so you got to be prepared for like a 2-hour boat ride in the open ocean on this. So probably want some Dramamine. This is what the whale sharks look like.
So you're snorkeling, you're not diving.
This is just snorkeling because you can't dive with them. These are pictures with my Canon A620, which Eric, I think you said you had. So these are not pro grade, but this is what it feels like when you're snorkeling. They take you out. The boat operators all coordinate. A lot of them are former fishing boats and things like that the government has transitioned into this tourism, ecotourism kind of thing. They all radio each other where they see a school of whale sharks. They're plankton feeders, so they're just skimming the surface. The boats kind of figure out where they are. They get ahead of where they're swimming, drop you in the water 2 at a time. You just swim around, and they'll swim up next to you. They're enormous. They're like 15 to 30 feet long. It is pretty crazy to be this close to something. They say keep 2 or 3 meters away, but if you are 3 meters away and it turns into you, then you're right next to it, right? They won't eat you because they're just filter feeders, but seeing these things come at you is pretty impressive. That's my white Tora. That's just kind of for scale. That's what they look like. Again, just some snapshots. They can get really close to you, right? Like you're trying not to get close to them, and they said, "Don't touch them. Don't touch them."
Well, I would touch that. What happens if you touch that?
Well, so the weirdest thing that happened on this is I'm swimming along. You kind of swim along next to one. One of them went under me, and came up out of the water and lifted me out of the water. It was like laying on top of a school bus. Like I'm completely out of the water, and all I could think of was to yell to the boat, "I'm not touching it! I'm not touching it!" It was crazy. They're so huge and so powerful. Like if their tail comes up against you, it just pushes you away like you're nothing. So it's really incredible to be in the water with something that is this big, and they look at you. They move their eyes.
You touched it.
Let's see. So I have a few videos here.
Here, you want me to?
Yeah. So they are aware of you. They look at you. You can see them just like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all really quick, but it shows you what it's kind of like. You're on the boat. This is what they look like, and then they say, "Okay, 2 of you get in." Let's go. You can tell the whale sharks are not bothered by the boats at all. We felt they were being pretty responsible. They kind of police themselves. The boats yell at each other like, hey, don't break the rules. Hey, get in the water. So if you're in Yucatan, this is a great day activity. If you can't go diving that day or something like that. So then, yeah, just 1, 2, 3. This is again just with my little point and shoot camera, swimming next to it.
Yeah. This is good eyes too.
And they're two sharks, huh?
Yeah, they are sharks. They water breathers.
They're the biggest fish.
Exactly.
A whale shark?
They have individual patterns, spot patterns that the scientists can recognize and track. When they get scientific pictures of them, and you see like you get in, you're like so excited to see one, and then you're like, oh, there's 3 more surrounding, because they just kind of school. And you're out there, they kind of rotate people through. They only want 2 people in the water at a time. So 2 of
And
you
you
in
can't
for 10
see
minutes.
what they're eating. That's the thing.
No. So after 10 minutes, you get out, someone else gets in, and they go through, 3 or 4 times. You get a good amount of time in the water with them.
How many people? How many snorkelers per boat?
Per boat,
Yeah.
it was maybe 10,
So there's
6 or 10.
So there's okay. So there's
Yeah.
like between 3 and 5 groups.
Right.
That's not
Can you see the plankton that they're eating or
No.
not really?
I mean, you can see there's a lot of nothing in the water. That's what they're eating. So that's it. So I just thought that would, be something people have done before.
Hello, I'm Mike.
Hi.
And this chance to present gave me a cause to reflect because I made a goal of diving 150 dives this year. And I'm at 131, and I'll get 19 in next month in December. So it's just sort of in order. It's sort of easy to do when you're in Florida some of the time as well. I do some sustainable spear fishing. That happens to be a mutton, and that's off the coast of Fort Lauderdale, Pompano. So I will usually get some goatfish, some grunts.
You eat that?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you spear
And
fish,
then of
lionfish?
course, and lionfish as well.
Maybe move.
Right there, sure.
Yeah.
So that was in January of this year. If you want to just flip it. I've gone 8 times now to Blackbeard Scuba Adventures over 10 years. So this was in January. They have 2 sailboats. They've been in operation for 35 years. I almost feel like I plug it all the time. Whenever I
always wanted to go on that.
Whenever I run into new divers, I remember I went there with 15 dives. That's when I bought my gear. And in 1 week's time of repetitively diving 18 days, or 18 dives rather, the muscle memory, it just elevates your learning curve. So this was in January. In January it can be sort of cold. A 3 mil full suit works. It could be a bit frigid depending on the temperatures when you get out of the water, but the clarity is very beautiful. I've also gone in August, and the visibility then is much less because they got the algae bloom, and it's not as good, but it's certainly beautiful. So that was in January, and it's camping at sea, nothing luxurious. They got their catamaran parked next to it. That's a little bit, more accommodating, but sometimes when a scuba club goes, and a few times I've gone, they'll accommodate like 22 divers, 5 or 6 crew member, and you get a scuba club there with 14 people, and from day one the party starts. Food, drink, 18 dives, $1,200 out of Nassau. So it's just, yeah.
It used to be less than $1,000.
Yeah, and now it's like 1,050, and they'll add like a.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was Blackbeards, and I actually went this year. I went twice, so I went in June as well. In March, it was the Philippines, Tubataha. This is a photo of El Nido. If you ever get there, El Nido is pretty neat. Coron is a little bit funky ghetto, as maybe you can call it. And off of Coron, there are the Japanese warships that are definitely worth going if you ever do that. So, but again, I don't have too much footage under the water, or I do, but I never accessed it. But this is more about what's above. Again, these are the type of boats that you dive off. In El Nido, the dive shop called Submariner was absolutely awesome. It was 2 tank dives with lunch for $95, and it was an all-day event. And my dive buddy and I had our own guide, and we tipped them, and they were thrilled as can be. And I found the Filipinos just very kind, they went all out. So, but these were the boats. That happens to be a starfish that is pretty beautiful with the colors, and that also was in the Philippines. And then maybe next, some of the fish, some jacks, lionfish, goatfish. There's 2 types off the coast of Florida. It's the one with the 3-4 mahogany type dots, and then there's also the more common larger goatfish that are yellow and white, and they're everywhere, and they make excellent fish tacos. That's sort of the setup when you're lobstering and spearing.
Do you have to like learn how to do that? Like how do you learn how to spear the fish?
Yeah, so I mean, a spear, you start with pole spears, with a pole and a band on it. Dive charters are very hesitant in taking you along because it's a weapon, and you really have to have some good dive buddies. So I have my dive buddies. So you begin with a pole spear, but because you have to get closer to the fish, your range is maybe from here to the corner of this. It makes you a better all-around hunter because you got to start thinking about the fish and which way is it going to go and your approach and so forth. But that's for maybe bigger fish. Again, this is in the nice blue water right off the coast of Florida. It's pretty nice. This is off the, it was a second dive, and it was the Lady Luck, which is a pretty common site.
What town?
The Lady Luck, usually diving out of Hillsborough Harbor by Pompano, which is just north of Fort Lauderdale. This is in Egypt in September, and there seem to be a lot of broomtail rasps, and that's what that one is, and they'll grow about that big. Very decorative, very beautiful as they're swimming along. And this is, so the Bahamas is the Blackbeard Scuba Adventure, and it's run by All Star Liveaboards. They have their charters also on liveaboard.com. But it's a great company, and it was the first time then that I went with one of their charters that wasn't in the Bahamas. And if you ever get a chance, you want to do the Red Sea, this boat is absolutely beautiful. But on this tour in September, we went along near Sharm el-Sheikh, and we did all the famous wrecks, the Thistleworm, so forth. And it was a little disappointing because when I went to Egypt a few years ago, it was east of Hurghada, and it was the middle grounds, Little Brothers, Ethelstone, so forth. And that was a different type of diving where they barely used these beautiful zodiacs, and most of the dives were off the boat. But when you go to the Little Brothers, it's very exciting, exhilarating. They're taking you by zodiac to the protected areas, and I think you see a whole lot more. But if you ever want to go there in Egypt, I think it's very important to go with a good company, because in all of Egypt they say that they have the most variances in safety for their boats. And
So is
this boat is beautiful.
Is this one called Scuba Scene?
This is Scuba Scene by All Star Liveaboard. They'll go to the complete south, they'll go to the Little Brothers, and they'll go up north. But you will not be disappointed with this boat. It is. I've got some photos on my phone. I mean, the cabins are just gorgeous. It's completely redone. The food was great. The staff was great, and ample room. It was gorgeous. So that was in September. There's a shark. I don't know what the black and white
Pilotfish.
The pilot. Uh-huh. So nice blue water. Didn't see too many sharks on the north. They're usually further south. So it was more about wrecks. And then I just got back last week from Cabo Polmo and Cabo San Lucas. Stayed at the Cabo Polmo Beach Resort. It was in the Patty magazine in some back issues. This happened to be the cactus out front. The feedback there is that they have a lottery system. The boats have to be in line on the beach because they all launch off the beach by 7 a.m. And if the boat isn't there or your charter doesn't have it together, you're out of the lottery. And of the 4 days of diving, only one day did we win a better dive, and it happened to be the last two dives.
Were you by the arcs?
No, this is Cabo Polmo, so it's up the coast in the Sea of Cortez.
Oh, okay.
And had we not won the lottery, we would have been a bit disappointed. The dives were expensive. They were about $160 for a 2 tank, which I think, compared to
Sounds like
everywhere
Great
else.
Lakes.
Yeah, so maybe not then. Maybe it's reason, but Florida is very competitive, and then I guess when you go on a liveaboard, your average dive cost is less. But it was fascinating. Thousands of jacks, literally a tornado of jacks. And this was in Cabo Polmo on the last day. And then from there we went to Cabo San Lucas, and there was incredible, they have a particular name of a rock right by the arch.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in my logbook. I still log everything. But the diving there was incredible. I dove for the first time with a sea lion, and I don't know. Is that the last photo?
I guess it is.
Yeah, and that was a year of diving, and I'm way overdue to get my rescue diver. I'm going to be doing that, and I think
You haven't done it yet?
not yet.
Oh, great
I
day.
should have done it years and years ago. So,
Why?
but anyway, that's and if you have any questions, feel free.
Where are you going next month? You said you're
I'm going
diving.
to Bonaire,
Oh, nice.
and then if I don't get the 19, then I'll finish it in Florida because 150. So. And I will go for just for kicks for my dive next year. I'm going to do that. That's the goal for next year. But anyway,
Wait, how many dives do you have now?
603.
This is in Oman. You see on the over here on the image. That's how we dressed after we bought some clothing down there. It was lots of fun. It's very, very rocky. In that, there's copper in those rocks. So that, imagine that underwater. Now this is a geometric, I've never seen so many moray eels in my life. And a lot of them, by the way, this is what happens if you forget to put the right, on the camera, it wasn't on underwater, so it turned green.
Okay.
That's the only one that's that green, then I realized it. But I've never seen so many moray eels out. I mean, out and about.
free swimming.
Yeah, free swimming. And
Wow.
this is a laced moray, and that's the most common one. I just love watching. And now remember, he's just breathing. He's not trying to be, angry or anything like that. That is how they breathe. But that one's a really big one. Now I also, this one just has his mouth open. See that little fish back there next to him? That is his dentist. They go in and they get their clean. And they're just so graceful to watch going along. Because most of the morays I've seen are green. Like in the Sea of Cortez, they're long green ones. There are some different colors, and there are some actually that are quite rare. And there's one, now the reason I'm showing you that is I'm trying to find him there. I know him, there he is. And another laced moray. Also the cleaner fish, see the little blue one? Those are the dentists. The dentists usually are blue. And then we come along to, let's see, I think this is the last one. Now he's breathing, so he's moving his mouth. He's not just holding it straight. A tiger moray.
Oh, wow.
Now that was really, just watching them was something. And, they're not threatening or anything. But as I said, I'm used to seeing them just in a hole, just laid out. In the Sea of Cortez, there are these volcanic mounts that have crisscross of cracks, and there's like a green moray in every single one. That, I think, is a snake eel.
It's snake eel.
I've seen that. Okay, now that one's very rare. It's a tiger. It's a tiger moray. I've never seen two together. Wow. These you saw all over. If you've dived a lot, you know what these are. Those are baby catfish. And they just love to hang around with each other. And I don't know the reason why, but they're sort of like teenagers, kind of. And now I tried to sort of categorize things, so now it's just masses of fish that we saw. What you're seeing in the water, the white stuff, is because it's the change of seasons, and it's like algae. We were going from the dry season to wet, but you can see how many fish that's shooting up towards the sun there. And these are the Damayet Islands that are just off of Muscat, which is the capital of Oman. And I'll tell you a bit about Oman. They were like biblical style until 1970 when they got oil. The Sultan has spent it on his people. They're all in lovely homes, cars. I saw no poverty. Pufferfish. They're lots of fun. And this is a long-spined furfish. And I don't know. I think that he was trying to. And here's one just hanging out. And of course, if they're upset, then they, all the spines come out. A night dive underwater. I've gotten a new actually, Nick fixed my dive light by using sandpaper. If your dive light doesn't work, use sandpaper on the contacts. So we saved $300 this morning with sandpaper. look at how he stretches the one leg, and this I was using a regular flashlight. I tried not to put it on, but notice how they change colors. Octopuses don't have any bones, so their only defense actually is camouflage. And okay, sorry, this one I didn't get the sound off. I breathed, which we all do. But if you look, that's an octopus there.
Oh, wow.
That's an octopus. He's resting. He's trying to pretend you don't see me, but that's an octopus. And obviously this was the name. And another one, this is also during the daytime, and he's decided, oh, I gotta get out of here, you know. And so he gets into a crevice. Now that was much larger than the little red one you saw overnight. And I'm still looking for him. Okay, yeah. And the cuttlefish were just wonderful. And it looks like she's got on a dress and is in a ball or something. And they're really quite friendly. They will not, go away from you. They just hang around. And here's a real close-up of the eyes and everything. And now, this is a married couple. The woman, the lady, is putting her eggs under that rock there. Another couple, and the woman wants to see how she's putting her eggs in there, and he's watching over her as they're doing that. Now this, I think it is a squid, I'm not sure, but look at the color, the lights going back and forth. And they were just dancing around us, not trying to get away or anything. And okay, scorpion fish ready for a ball. She's got her tiara on. Okay, find the fish.
Yeah.
Okay, found it. Okay, here's another one. Okay, this is a test, and I think you have one more and the third fish. Okay. So.
I always have to have somebody point them out to me.
Oh yeah, well I had to look, I know, I took this picture of something, and then I look at it. I've had dive guides say, yes, it's a fish, it's right there, it's right. And, but these two were, sometimes you come across fish where they're swimming in pairs. And, we also saw turtles. I feel sorry, all of them had barnacles on their backs, and I'm sure they did not like that. Notice the rocky, underwater it's just like it is above where it's lots of rocks. And so they're just sort of gliding around. And this is a yellowback fusilier there. That's a very common fish there. Bubble coral with its guardian, the enemy fish. And that's a peacock flounder. So the eyes are over on the left, and as you know, they're born with them on either side, and they migrate over as they go. That is the weirdest kind of coral I ever saw, so I had to take a picture of it. Once again, I love watching them, and they're, and once again, they are protecting you, because you can see them coming up to me, to the camera, like, come on, get out of here. This, I actually, here, you'll see two, this is an anemone moving. I've never seen this before. Now this is a very small one. I've seen big ones where they have, they sort of cover up their tentacles, but this one is actually letting the ocean move it back and forth.
If you go to the Pacific Northwest, you'll see these plume anemones that will actually jump.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Okay. I haven't seen that yet. Trunkfish, this is the male. Oh, this is a many splotched, or a black blotched porcupine fish. And it was so adorable. Look at the big eyes. I've noticed boxfish and porcupine fish will let you swim right next to them. That's a sea star. Notice the leg in the front. You see? It comes up. These flat corals are anemones are quite interesting. They are defending the eggs, or they're fanning the eggs. See how they do that? The eggs are down there, and that's what.
Just like bluegills.
Yeah, and this was just soft coral. It was just mesmerizing just watching it, wade back and forth. And by the way, this is the first time I used something called Clip Champ. And it's really easy. You just put all your everything in, and it just plays. But it took a while to figure out how to do it. If you want, I can tell you. Lettuce coral. It does look like a head of lettuce, but like acres of lettuce. Crown. I think that's a crown of thorns, and those were the ones that decimated that you can see the anemone again. I didn't realize I had it twice. The crown of thorns are what decimated the Great Barrier Reef, and they are so invasive that they tried cutting up the crown of thorns, and then they cut 100 crown of thorns. And there's, once again, our friends with their, the anemones and so on. So they do a pretty good job of defending it. And an emperor fish, if I remember right. And just some different kinds of coral that I haven't seen. And here's a little girl, trunkfish. The girls, as I said, are yellow with polka dots. And they are swimming around and doing their trunkfish thing, whatever. And there's the male. So I think the box fish that looks like a box is just sort of fun to watch. And once again, just ignore me, they don't get in there. A very interesting underwater creature. I mean, it looks like a fern. I know it's not you all know the feather stars, and it's like, how close can I get before it's really going to go in? And once it decides you are a threat, well, that's going to be it. It's gone. And they're actually worms, these, trumpet fish. And I once had a staring contest with one of those. I mean, I just floated right next to it, and we just looked at each other. So they don't mind divers at all. And some fish, so I just was taking a picture of him swimming around. But as you can see, it's very, very rocky down there. And then this one is an octopus. See in the center?
Okay.
Now, he's seeing me. He's trying to pretend he's part of the rock. But you can see him moving back and forth. I didn't get closer, just stayed at one place, and it was just fascinating watching him. But if it weren't for the movement, it would be hard to make out that he's actually there. And so it was, I think it's always fun. I have my octopus necklace on. I really like to watch them, and they're fascinating. And that is, I forgot the name of it, but anyhow, a triggerfish. Okay, it's a triggerfish. You have to watch out for those if they're protecting eggs, because then it can be, they will attack and bite divers. So I'd be more afraid of a triggerfish than a blue shark. And this is just the scene, once again, the fish that like to be in pairs, and you see them together, and then just a few feet away there was another group. And to end these, I think these are Squid? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's good.
But it was such fun, and I've seen them diving before when you're getting up to your service. They didn't leave us. We were just sitting there. They came to show
They're
off.
doing a light show
They
too.
kept, back and forth, light show, and you thought they were going to leave, and then they came back again. And it was just such fun. And they're usually they're not alone. There's usually a little group. And we thought they were leaving. Nope, they came swooping back in, just to show off. But they're really so pretty. I haven't seen squid before that, had the waviness on the side as much. But so anyhow, this was the MV. It's Oman Explorer, and I went there with Julie Umay and Michelle Labrac from M2 Pix. And beforehand, we did a tour of the country, and that was fascinating. So I really recommend it. And it's a Muslim country, but they're very tolerant of everybody. And you see, now, except if a woman is going into a mosque, you have to be covered up.
Yeah.
You just out of respect. But on the street, in that kind of heat, I'll tell you, something long and flowing is a lot cooler than our normal clothes. And these two are saying goodbye to us. So I hope you enjoyed Oman.
Yeah.